What's going on, Audioholics? Tyler here from Audioholics Anonymous, and today I bring to you a review of Between the Buried and Me Colors 2, the sequel to one of the best progressive metal albums of all time. So a little bit of backstory. I listened to Colors 1 and Parallax when I first started trying to get into prog with my Getting Into Prog series, and I wasn't the biggest fan at the time, but since then they've grown on me a lot. I would liken them to acquired tastes, at least for me. And Colors 1 may not be one of my favorite albums of all time, but I absolutely appreciate how influential and important it is to the genre. And I may get flack for this. I may get shot, but this is my genuine opinion. Colors 2 is better than Colors 1. As much as I appreciate and enjoy that album, I think this album is even stronger. I love a lot of these songs. I love the feel of this album, and I like the twists that it takes on Colors 1. So let's get right into it with the vocals. I give the vocals a 9 out of 10. Absolutely phenomenal, very varied. I love how he uses his clean vocals to add emphasis to the chorus melodies, and even like in the Latin section of a song I'll talk about later, I really like that feel, and I like how varied his harsh vocals are. You can go from like tortured to deep to, it's really, really well done. I think my only complaint is that it might not be as original and unique as it should be, because I think if you took him out and replaced him with somebody like Spencer Charnas or the guy from August Burns Red or like Howard Jones, I'm not sure I would miss this guy, and I'm not sure I'd really be able to tell the difference. I think he sounds like a pretty normal metalcore vocalist with maybe just a little bit of pizzazz to him that some of the other ones don't. So for that reason, 9 out of 10, I'll dock 1 point for lack of a unique sound. Instrumentally, easily, this is a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason I would dock a half point is that I feel that occasionally it's a little bit too generic metalcore, and they kind of abandon the things that make the album unique. Outside of that half point, which is a very rare part in the album, kind of nitpick, this album is phenomenal instrumentally. And we'll get to the songwriting, but this album sounds like nothing you've ever heard before. It's absolutely phenomenal. There are so many interesting shifts, and the instrumentals keep up with all of them. Some of the greatest guitar work and soloing I've ever heard is on this album. Some of the best bass work, some of the best drumming. It's phenomenal. I cannot gush about it enough. So to the songwriting, which is my highest rated category in this album, it is a straight 10 out of 10. I think the songwriting is absolutely top-notch. From front to back, this is a perfect album composition-wise. And like, to that point, there were times where songs would change and I wouldn't even notice. In fact, that would happen for most of the runtime of the album, because the songs, it's not that they tie together. It's not that, like, they blend together. It's not that they all sound the same. It's just that they seamlessly go into each other, as if the band never stopped playing. It really feels like an extension of the last song, even if it goes into its own little adventurous musical direction. I absolutely love that about this album, and about that adventurous musical direction that they take. It's different all the time. There's, in Revolution, in Limbo, which is my favorite song on the record, there's this really Latin influenced section at the end of the song, which is really nice and sort of dancey, and the album, that song alone goes through so many changes, from the like chorus, over and over, day in, day out. I love that shit. And I like how they tie back into that chorus at the end of the Latin section. Gives me chills every fucking time. But there's like super heavy headbanging sections of that song. Like, that song alone is worth the price of admission for this album. But then you get into like Bad Habits, or the amazing drum soloing from Portnoy in Fix the Error, or the absolutely masterful epic Human as Hell, or even, fuck it, the opener, Monochrome, going into Double Helix of Existence, which sounds pretty similar to the opening of Colors 1, but it does its own thing. And that's a great thing about this album, is it does feel like a sequel to Colors 1, but they're not treading the same ground. They're doing something different, something unique, and something you have not heard before. Absolutely love that about this album. So yes, songwriting 10 out of 10. Personal enjoyment, 9.5 out of 10. I loved this album. I've listened to it like 8 times in the time that it came out. Frankly, that's why this review took so long, because I've just had to really absorb it. Same thing with Aphelion. I feel like I had to really absorb that album, but I've wanted to listen to this album more than that album, because this album blew me the hell away, and there's just more songs on this album that I want to return to. And so finally, I would give this album a 9.5 out of 10. So what do you guys think about Colors 2? Do you think I'm exaggerating how good it is by saying that it's better than Colors 1? Would you say that it even comes close to Colors 1? Is there anything about this album that ticks you off or annoys you? I would be shocked, but I guess everybody has different experiences. All that said, without further ado, I bid you audio do. Bye, guys!